Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Get to Know Gives Back. I'm your host of this wonderful podcast series, Quinn Pettifer, Manager of Brand Initiatives for the Gazette. And for those that are just tuning in for the first time, this podcast is a chance for us to get to know our nonprofit community that are part of our 2025 Gazette Gives Back program. Through application, we have 31 nonprofits that are selected this year to work with the Gazette, work with our team, work with each other through various networking workshops, opportunities to get to know our team, but also the ability to participate in free advertising so that they're able to get the word out about the services and the wonderful work that each one does. And we're really excited today to have Community Crisis Services and Food Bank be able to talk a little bit further in when it comes to the services that they provide. Hey, Emma, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you, Quinn?
Excellent. So, Emma, I know you get this question a lot. Community Crisis Services does so much in the community. Why don't we just start with an overview of your mission and the services that you provide?
Yeah, so CommUnity has been around for over 50 years at this point. Some people may still know us as our former name, the Crisis Center of Johnson County. We switched a few years ago to Community Crisis Services and Food Bank. And our mission is to provide immediate, non-judgmental support to individuals facing crisis, be that a food crisis, financial crisis, or an emotional support or an emotional crisis. Um, yeah.
And I love how crisis is kind of open to interpretation, right? One, you have such a broad range of services. When people are in crisis, however they define that, it could go a lot of different ways. You mentioned financial, emotional, other resources that they're in need of. How does your organization define crisis? Or if someone asks you, like, how do I know if someone is in crisis? Or how do I know if I'm in crisis? How do you handle that?
Yeah, so we allow our clients to self-select for services. So what is a crisis for one person may not be for another. We don't have any demographic requirements. Like for our food bank, folks can come in. We don't ask for specific income levels because a lot of us are one bill or one emergency away from being in a crisis,
Mhm.
and our demographics don't discriminate on that. So we are here for everyone in the community. If it feels like a crisis to you, it is a crisis for us, and we're here to help.
Absolutely. Tell me a little bit about some of the resources that you've been seeing in the highest of demand. Also, just where you are in terms of being able to provide the resources that you have been historically and the new moving forward.
Yeah, so I think something everyone is very aware of right now is the price of groceries, and that we are not immune to the price of groceries. While we're able to do some bulk buying in the food bank through financial gifts, we still are spending a lot more on food, and we want to make sure that we're able to purchase and stock shelves with enough food to meet the need in our community. We're also given recent events funding for programs that have historically been fully funded, such as our mental health services. So Mobile Crisis, which dispatches counselors anywhere in Johnson or Iowa County, and answering the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, which historically have been covered fully by grants and contracts. That funding source is becoming a little bit more shaky. And so we are really needing to rely going forward on all of our neighbors to provide individual gifts and help us smooth out what is pretty uncertain at this point.
Absolutely. And definitely not alone when talking to our nonprofit community about just having to reimagine some of those funding streams or some of your strategies to make sure that your clients are able to provide and get what, or you're able to provide what your clients will continue to need to receive. So with that, are there signature events throughout the year, things that you put together so that the community can learn more about you and help support?
Yeah, we have a couple really large fundraising events specifically around the food bank. So, starting in the summertime, we have Strike Out Hunger, which helps to bridge the gap for local kids that are usually reliant on school lunches. Um, and our goal is to boost the amount of food that we have on our shelves available for families so that they are able to provide breakfast and lunch for their kids over summer break. Whereas, during the school year, they would have been receiving that food from the school.
Mhm.
We also have Strikeout Hunger, or sorry, we have Project Holiday, um, which is a food distribution in December. So that's still a ways off, but we are always looking to get some early volunteers and some early gifts to support that. We provide food to thousands of our local families for the holiday season. So folks can come in and they'll receive a chicken, a turkey, a tofurkey, and all of the ingredients that they need to make a traditional holiday side and um, desserts. So those are a couple of our bigger fundraisers that we have throughout the year that are coming up.
One thing I've noticed throughout all of our conversations with our nonprofit communities is just planning earlier makes all the difference. It sounds like it's so far away, having an event in December or even summer, but it takes quite a bit of planning and coordination on a site, especially an organization that relies so much on your volunteers to get things where they need to be so that people can support and participate. So I think that's fantastic. If somebody wants to start to have conversations with you now about how they can get involved, what's the best way to get in touch with you, Emma, and the rest of the crew?
Yeah, so they can certainly reach out to me. My email is emma.huntzinger@builtbycommunity.org. Our communications and development team is always eager and happy to talk to folks about funding and volunteering and just learning more about what we do. Um, we can also learn a lot more about all of our services on our website, which is at builtbycommunity.org. We have information on our food support, financial support, on all of our mental health services.
That's excellent. Any advice for somebody that is maybe they're thinking about they might be in crisis, they might not be in crisis, they're kind of going back and forth as to whether or not they should be reaching out. Any advice for them as far as taking that step? What's something that would maybe help give
Yeah,
that nudge?
the number one message I would say is that if you are thinking about reaching out for help, just do it. We are here. We have no judgments. We have very low barriers to access our services. And again, what is a crisis for one person may not be for another. So we want to make sure that anyone that is feeling even the slightest bit of urge for help, we are here for you. All of our services are free. And our mental health services are available 24/7, 365, and are fully confidential.
That's excellent. Serving Johnson County and Iowa County. I'm going to give that URL one more time because it's not the typical. I know obviously you're used to saying it off the cuff all the time, which is great. But your website is builtbycommunity.org, and that will get everybody what they need in terms of who to go to, how to reach out for whether it's to support or if you are in need of resources. Emma Huntzinger, thank you so much for everything that you're doing. Please pass along our thanks and appreciation to everybody on the team. I know you rely a lot on volunteers, but you are just it's a nonstop job, and the need is great right now. So we really are very appreciative and thankful of everything that you're doing for your clients in Johnson and Iowa counties. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. And thank you to our viewers for tuning into another edition of Get to Know Gives Back podcast. We also want to give a shout out to our presenting sponsor, Collins Community Credit Union. They sponsor this podcast series as well as our program throughout the year so that Folks like Emma can connect with other nonprofits and get a chance to talk to one another and learn some stuff throughout the year about what's happening in our nonprofit community. I'm Quinn Pettifer, and we will see you next time.